So what happened with last week's? Joe's voice didn't come through.
It just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for us to put out, and that says a lot. Because I will put out crap. I will put out absolute garbage. Dr. Pepper. You concur, Dr. Pepper? Doctor. I have nothing.
So what are we?
I was gonna say I have nothing planned out. But
I mean, we can just stick with the.
I like the theme.
Midlife crisis.
Let's talk about midlife crisis for on this one. Let's introduce people. If you just in case if you need, I do have my piano chord chart in case if you need it. I don't know if you need it. In case if you need it. This is how I learn to play piano.
Name any chord on there.
E minor 7th. I want money. That's what I want. Little girl with a diamond race. She's a girl wanna take up damn. What I want. It's what I want. What I want. And the best part is that we run no risk of copyright infringement because we don't know the lyrics. Yeah.
All right, I'm 1 for 1. Then we're gonna call it.
Let's say the same thing. B minor 7th.
B then B.
Yeah.
B's kind of a hard.
Because B's like, oh, you suck, dude. You suck, bro. Bro, you're dog water, bro. And that's a piano. What was it?
It's kind of some sort of A13th. It's like an A7. There's a 13.
Well,
no, that's a augmented. It's an augmented 7.
Because you're going B.
So here's the A7.
Yeah,
but then I put in the augment, but then I'm putting the 5 at the top.
I think you might.
I
think you might. Is it a dominant 7th?
Yeah.
Based on my research. Based on my research.
I have an augment, so there's you can either call that a sharp 5 or you could call it a flat 13.
I mean, that's obviously I was sitting there going, I'm pretty sure it's a sharp 5, but I didn't want to say anything.
Hey, want to say it's a sharp 5?
Anybody up for a sharp 5? Yeah, I got a sharp 5 in here.
Crisis?
Let's do it. Are you ready to have a midlife crisis? I was gonna say, let me. Uh-oh, are you stuck? Are you stuck? Get on out of here now. Oh, Summit, you're the worst. Oh, get on out.
Ouch.
Get on out of here now.
Get on out of here, boy.
Get on out of here. All right. Well, what do you say we
hit record and see what happens?
Already recording.
We've been recording?
We've been recording the whole time. Just like Jesus.
He was recording the whole time?
Oh, Jesus has been since the beginning of history.
Well, I kind of thought the ironic thing is he didn't actually write down anything he wrote, and then it was only his disciples years after who then recorded everything.
Correct. However, okay, now we want to. We're going straight into it.
We're going into it.
Okay,
we should name this podcast the Christian Atheist Podcast.
The Christian Atheist. We're having a midlife. One of us is going to heaven. The other one doesn't know where he's going. You can't. Okay, so some scholars. Get out of here. I'm just going to close. I'm going to close that door. Sorry.
This is the some scholars _ Some scholars.
Some scholars believe. Get out of here. Go on there now. Get on out of here now.
Get on out of here, boy.
Nobody gets to sleep. Okay, fine. Nobody can leave too. Come on. Good boy. Okay,
Should we start over?
No, let's go. Hey, you want to have a midlife crisis?
Let's have a midlife crisis.
Let's have a midlife crisis. Okay.
We're getting old.
What's the song that every middle-aged, well, not older man sings at karaoke? The one, the Frank Sinatra one.
And I did it my way. It's like, nah, you didn't. No, you didn't. You had a job. Yeah, if you had a corporate job, you did not do it your way.
Every man that I see singing that at karaoke sings that with all the gusto of a man with 4 divorces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I did it my way.
And also according to about 40,000 pages of court documents.
Yo, alimony.
I can't remember how the verses of that go.
And now the end draws near, and so I face my final curtain, and now the end draws near, of which I'm certain.
Is it kind of like a major?
It's like in a major. Of which I'm certain. Yeah. I did it my way.
Those chords were way too modern pop for. I'm sure they're probably more jazzy.
Okay, so
my apologies to all jazz musicians out there and Frank Sinatra fans, because I am fully aware that I just butchered that.
No apologies. No apologies.
Hey, I did it my way, which happened to be all the wrong chords. I didn't know all the chords. I may seem like a piano savant, but I'm actually not. I'm not one of those. Off the top of my head, I can pop any song. Just
I can get close. Those dueling piano. Canadian.
Hey. And I did it. Oh, Canada.
Let's talk about our midlife crisis. Let's talk about our midlife crisis this week. You just came back from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I spent 4 days in Vegas on a whim. My good comedian friend Andrew just said, "Hey, let's go to Vegas." I said, "Okay." You want what's lame about me in Vegas is I don't do anything that any normal human being associates with Vegas.
Yeah,
I don't gamble.
Yeah,
I don't prostitute
myself or others.
Although I did put an ad out. I only made $50.
I'm just saying.
I had to give a special. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a drugger.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of go there and look at the lights.
I have a very similar take on other than I like the blackjack tables myself.
Oh yeah, are you a gambler?
A little bit too much.
You a gambler?
A little too much.
Can you count the cards? You gotta that feels high.
I can. It's way easier than you think it is, but also don't do it.
Oh yeah, then you get kicked out.
Well, no, not even that. It's just by the time you get good at it, you've probably wasted a lifetime supply of money.
Oh,
that's every gambler. Like I had to kick out, and you're like watching me like how much? Like I'm down $70,000 this year, but it's coming back up. And you're like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Doesn't any getting good at anything require a lifetime of money? Like look at a surgeon.
That's
before
true.
They surgeon, it's
$200-something thousand
in debt.
That's true.
Comedian, I haven't turned a profit.
We're still waiting.
I think you have. You've cracked a few codes. I have not.
I've cracked the code. I figured out the niche. It's the niche.
It's the Christian and the college.
Christian college corporates. Anything with
Christian college. CC. The 3 C's.
4 C's. There's Christian college, Christian corporates, college, comedy clubs. Anything with if someone says we need you to do a bar mitzvah, I said no. 1,
2, nope. Wrong God. Wrong God.
Yeah.
Him, them, they.
Because we're stemmed off.
What's God's pronouns now? They, them, him,
them,
her, him. My pronouns for God are my bad.
Yeah, my
bad. That's how I talk to God. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about religion a little bit. yeah, because there's a big thing about like, okay, so and they're right that the first recorded instances of the Bible come about 100 something years after the death of Jesus, which is correct. However, the things that are written, the earliest recordings that we have are written from Luke, who was a doctor back in Jesus' time, and he writes as when Jesus actually went up in heaven, and it was so like Luke and Acts was written by the same person, and they say that like in Acts they say, listen, there's 500 people that saw this, go talk to Jim down the road. And so it's kind of the idea of like, okay, even though our first recorded that we have is about 100 something years, they know that it was written, the original was written or told within
a couple stories originating
within a decade of it happening. So right, and so this is how this is. Now they're getting to I go, all scholars, well, all good scholars, they go, Jesus existed, right? He was a man. I'm not saying deity. I'm saying he was a man.
He's not saying deity. Not saying that,
but all scholars say Jesus was a man who born, led a movement of religious movement, was crucified on a cross, and his followers kept at that after his death. Mm-hmm. Those are the four tenets, and
hangs on the rearview mirrors of a lot of Catholics.
A lot of Catholics.
Yeah.
This is where I have the disconnect, is because I grew up Protestant. My dad, but Catholics, they don't even go to Jesus. You know that?
Like they go through Mary, right?
Yeah. You can. By the way, do whatever you got to do. There's things you can tighten the thing.
I'm gonna
slowly go.
Our ratings will go up if my face is concealed. Look at our ratings; they're jacking up. Do you see them right there? Look at the likes. Look at the likes.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna hide behind here.
So we're gonna call this the Ashamed podcast.
What were we talking about? Jesus. Oh, anyways, I like Jesus. My goal is by the end of this podcast to turn you Protestant.
Wouldn't I need to be Catholic first?
No, because
so I can just skip.
Oh no, yeah, because
I can just skip the Catholic part and be like, I'm not even going to protest this. I am not putting any decree on any door with any protesting you don't need whatsoever.
To. You don't. The decree has already been doored.
Just skip the middleman.
Yeah, exactly. Skip the middle.
No, I'm actually going to go through the whole religious history. So I'm going to start as an Old Testament house of Judah.
I love it.
Following Moses.
Like a Levite.
Yeah, I'm going to a Levite, then I'm going to become a Samsonite.
And then I'm going to become a checked bag.
And then I'm going to become a Pharisee, then a Sadducee, and then I'm going to become Jewish again, and then I'm going to follow Jesus, and Jesus is going to be like, actually, Judaism is out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We're replacing Judaism with me.
And then people don't know that. This is rare fact.
Ooh.
People don't know this. It was so Jesus was Passover's on a Wednesday. He gets taken into custody on a Wednesday night. Mm-hmm. He gets beat up on a Thursday, hung up on a cross, died on a Friday, resurrected on a Sunday. But on Saturday, he's saying, "I did it my way." Yeah.
But he probably used the right chords because he's the son of God and all.
Because he's the son of God.
He didn't do these watered down pop chords that I'm using.
Yeah.
This pentatonic scale. What do I look like, Britney?
I did it my way.
Is it major?
I don't know.
Ooh. Feels like it should be. Yeah, it's major. Baby, how was I supposed to know?
I'm also going to play along with this.
And now I owe her money. Oh, baby, this alimony's killing me. Oh, because my loneliness is killing me. And I must confess, I do believe, I still believe. If I lose my mind, give me a sign. Give me maybe one more time. Hey, that was was pretty close.
Not bad.
Not bad. Wrong key though. Definitely the wrong key.
No.
Way
We
too
sounded
low.
great.
It's
We
way too low.
We sounded great.
We seem to bounce back between you converting me to Christianity and then
Singing,
pop songs.
Why do we need?
And by the way, I don't believe in either. Just to be clear,
I don't believe in pop songs.
I don't believe in pop songs or Christianity.
Do you know any Warren Zevon? You guys did Werewolves of London. Woo! Werewolves of London. You know that guy? If you like weird upbeat music with really terrifying lyrics, that not just that song, but his whole.
Isn't that something like that?
That's the one.
Something like that.
Because what's that? What's his name? The Kid Rock guy did it.
It's close to that. I'm not quite there, but
yeah. Okay, this new
that's
podcast
what I'm saying.
is
I'm
just
not,
called,
I'm not actually that
okay,
guy.
we're gonna have a new podcast just called Paul Tries to Figure Out Songs.
Paul tries to figure out songs with about 70% accuracy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our
Vegas.
Okay, so here, okay, here's a question. So I had the same problem when I was in LA. I'd go to Vegas with my comedy friends to do shows. You know, you get booked at all the clubs out there, and I had a very similar problem where I don't drink. I rarely gamble. I don't philander. I don't do any of those things. And so I go to Vegas and I go, well, you guys like want to watch Cirque du Soleil or something?
Right. Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, we want to get drunk, gamble, and then philander with ladies. And I go, I don't want to do that.
Here's how big of a nerd I am. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So I have, speaking of midlife crisis, I have been in the middle of a financial, reset.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And I had this 30-day late credit card charge pop up a year ago just for a myriad of reasons. I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have 1,000 pieces of debt and I've never missed a payment ever except for this one 30-day late. And it has just turned me into a financial leper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Only Jesus ain't visiting this leper colony because I can't go 2 minutes. So anyway, so I have been trying to get that fixed. And that 130-day late just set this domino effect of just financial destitution, where the whole financial machine goes oh, he's one of the poor people. We now make his life hell.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you're in the club, I used to be in the 720 plus club.
Ooh,
and now I'm in the 620 plus club.
Yeah.
And then they go oh, sorry, you're not. So anyway, what does this all have to mean? So I have been in this mass credit repair thing. I've been, I hired the guy to write all of the letters and do all of the things.
It's a waste of money though.
Just whatever. And then the other thing that I've been trying to do is lower the utilization. So I have all these credit cards, but some of them are really highly utilized. And then I have 4 credit cards that didn't have anything on it. And my credit guy said, that's bad because I started having cards close because again, I'm a financial leper. So they're he's not putting money on this. Close it, which makes my credit score even worse because these cards are just closing, even though they didn't even have balances on them. And even though when I did have balances on, they had perfect payment history. It just doesn't matter. So what I had to do was try to get the money off of these high credit card things and move it to my low balance ones so that the utilization on each individual card wasn't super high.
Okay.
You tracking? This has to do with Vegas, I promise. There you are. So anyway, so here's how big of a nerd I am. So I'm walking, I was staying at the Rio. And I'm walking around the casino floor, and I see this big kiosk that says cash advances. And I'd already called one of my credit cards, and they said, yes, you can do $1,000 cash advance. And I had tried on 3 different ATMs to get a cash advance. And that's what they said. Oh, you have a PIN number. Just go to an ATM. Boop, 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 boop. And I would do that, and the ATMs would go boop, 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 boop. No.
Yeah.
But I'm this is Vegas. I bet you they've got this figured out on how to get cash out of a credit card. Because
it's Vegas.
Because it's Vegas, and people gambling their money away, and they go well, I got a credit card. I'll put a credit card. Yeah. So I put a credit card into the machine. I typed in $1,000. It gave me this receipt and said, go talk to the cashier and bring that receipt. So I bring the receipt to the cashier, and they hand me $1,000. And I'm sitting there thinking, this cashier is probably thinking that I am just being financially irresponsible, putting $1,000 on a credit card to gamble away. But you want to know what I did with that $1,000? I went straight to an ATM, deposited ATM, and then went straight up to my computer and paid down another credit card. So I'm walking. I'm just thinking, how nerdy is this? I'm walking through the floor of Vegas, just passing every poker table, every blackjack table, every slot machine. And then I'm like, I'm going to be financially responsible and manage my credit card debt and lower the utilization here and put credit on this card here so that I can keep this card alive and do this one down so that it'll hopefully start to increase my credit score.
Man, this sounds it sounds like a Dave Ramsey nightmare.
I know, right?
It just sounds like Dave Ramsey was just there.
It's like, Dave, I'm not even ready to snowball. All right, I am not even. I'm just getting my jacket on. I am getting my jacket
I'm just kidding.
on.
I'm just kidding.
I am just about ready to open the door to the snowstorm and then start my first little snowball.
Well, so here's a little fun fact: is I similar. Different problem, similar outcome, right?
Yeah.
Except for I have a couple of credit cards just for travel. That's all they're used for. They get it. Just for the points. You did it. You get it done. That's it. That's the one thing even Dave Ramsey disagrees with. But what are you gonna do? But when I first went into comedy, I was like, okay, what do I need to do? I was like, so I got the Dave Ramsey book. I was like, okay, how do I get myself out of this whatever situation? So it's like I'm gonna pay all my stuff down. I'm going debt free. And as soon as I went debt free, my credit score dropped like 200. It went from like a 710, 715 down to 500.
Yeah.
When I went debt free, I was like, I'm going to go on debt free. And then the credit card company, the credit FDIC, no, not FBI. FICO. Yeah. FICO was like, oh, this guy's a bad person.
Oh yeah. We can't trust him. He pays off his debts. Yeah, they don't want that.
They don't like that. And so now to this day, I don't have good credit score, even though I have always paid. Everything has always been paid on time.
Yeah,
I have everything's automatic. And to this day, I don't have good credit score because FICO sees me as a liability because they're like, oh, well, at any time he's just going to pay off. He's
just going to pay it off. We're not going to pay off his debts. We're not going to make any interest payments.
Yeah. Why would we help him out?
But you know what they say.
Anyways,
hey, I got that one right.
That's a good
I got that one right. I think those are the actual chords. It might even be the right key.
My favorite. We should just keep doing like every just once in a while, just go into and then like just go right back into.
Somebody wants a full song.
I got you, Dr. Pepper.
Thank you.
Dr. Pepper.
A complimentary beverage.
Dr. Pepper. Brought to you by diabetes.
Oh dear. Ooh, that one almost ended up on the carpet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry about that.
I got it in time.
That's okay.
That was a quick draw.
It'll make the carpet cleaner than it is.
The soda will.
Here's a midlife thing. Because we got dogs, and so I was like, oh, how much would it cost you to send this carpet off to go get cleaned? Well, $200 something to take this carpet, 5x8 carpet, to a place to have them do the cleaning thing and all that stuff. I can buy a new one for $20. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the idea.
There's so many
wasting.
weird scams like that. Of like how much things cost versus how much they should cost versus like just fixing it versus buying a new one.
Fix it. They say what do they call it? They call it planned obsolescence.
Right.
All
the software companies do that.
Not just software, lights. If you in a lot of the newer lights, they actually have chips or like little things that are made to break before the LED will run out. It's true. Sorry,
you just made me lose faith in humanity there.
I have no faith in humanity. That's why I have faith in God. And let's bring this.
Tell me about it.
I was trying to think what song that is.
Oh no, I was just underscoring.
Okay, here we go.
This felt like
let's take it back. Let's take it back a second, right?
This felt like a monologue about your faith in God. Say it again.
Okay. And I just don't have faith in humanity, but I do have faith in. I have faith in God. When life gives you lemons, they say to make lemonade. But I say nay. When life gives you lemons, there's an olive branch. And who's on the other side of the olive branch, you say? It's Jesus. He's reaching out to you, Paul. Or should we call you Saul? Cry out to him. Cry out to Jesus. And you let him know that in the end, He's gonna be there. That apple. But I want some Jesus fruit. Jesus be my lemonade. He's not so sour now. Jesus be my sugar dad. We're gonna make it through somehow. I'm gonna set up a little stand on the corner. I'm gonna sell some lemon lime. And if you stop on by, I'll give you a cup of Jesus. And I'm only charging a dime. Jesus be my lemonade. Jesus be my lemonade. I said, Jesus be my lemonade. I say I'm down on my knees. I give that lemon a squeeze. I turn that lemon into wine. Anyway, so my FICO score,
Right.
it's been staying at a pretty low number, and the thing is, I don't know how to raise it. Yeah, so Dave Ramsey, he gets all mad at you, but you were like, what are you gonna do?
So you don't have any more credit cards?
They say to get more or less, but but it doesn't make financial sense, to get more credit cards.
Here's what you do.
Okay,
You get a credit card. You get whatever your recurring thing is, your Netflix, your utility bill.
Yeah,
just
that. Oh yeah,
something on a recurring.
Yeah.
And then you set it to pay off the balance every month. So every month it goes up.
It goes down. Oh no!
And then boom, boom, boom. So you do that. That's by the way, I've never done that, but that's what I've been told.
Say to do. That's what they say. No,
I have done everything the wrong way, and so I'm not doing what I just said. But it's really easy to give good advice.
It is. I am so good at advice. And if
Can I give you some advice? I think that you should give advice.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Have you ever considered giving advice?
I have.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that you're really good at this advice thing? So I think that maybe you should. Have you ever thought about being a life coach?
I actually have. I was a life coach. You want to hear a true story about how I became a life coach?
Yeah.
This is a true story. So I was in a Toastmasters group back in Pasadena. It was actually, we met in Burbank, and we met at the Warner Brothers Studios. You want to know why I chose... Okay, this story is going to be a lot longer than I thought it was initially when I entered into it. So the reason I chose Warner Brothers is because I was manifesting and visualizing, and I was visualizing of what it would be like to drive on the Warner Brothers lot to be like on a movie or whatever. And so I found that this Toastmasters group met at the Warner Brothers lot. Mm-hmm. So I signed up for it just so I could drive to the Warner Brothers lot every week.
Love it.
I actually never ended up filming on Warner Brothers yet. So anyway, so I go to this Toastmasters, and there's this incredible woman in there. I won't say her name just in case she doesn't want me to mention her. Mm-hmm. And she was Sheryl Crow was there. So she gives this speech one day about how she's about to get her PhD and she can't get there's this block. It's the type of thing where she's come this far, but she doesn't actually really want anything to do with it anymore. Mm-hmm. But she's already invested all of this time to almost get her PhD in psychology or something like that. And I'm listening to this talk or listening to her talk, and I'm going, I think I can help her. I'm seeing some blocks.
I see some blocks in here.
And I feel like she just needs somebody just to kind of be like, hey, what are we doing here? So I called her and I just said, hey, Megan. Oh, I said her name. I said, hey, Megan.
Hey, Sheryl Crow.
I won't say her last name. Megan Crow. So I said, hey, Megan, by the way, I think that I can life coach you into getting your PhD. But let me just tell you something. I don't know what I'm doing. You've been far more successful in life. I'm definitely not qualified to do this at all. But I still think I can help you. Do you want me to help you? And she's like, yes. Mm-hmm. So I said, cool. And then I just started talking her through this PhD thing. And the first thing I said is, well, just tell me this. Are you going to get the PhD or are you not? And she goes, no, I'm definitely going to get it. I'm like, because you could totally say no, because if it's not actually a priority, then I say F it and go do what you want to do with your life. Who cares if you're on the 5-yard line? If it's just not important you to pick up that football and go the final 5 yards, then don't do it and go do what you want with your life.
Yeah.
Is this holding you back from anything else? And she goes, no, not really. She goes, but there's just, it would just be absolutely no reason for me not to just finish this thing. I'm so close. And I just said, cool. What is, if you just went full bore, what is the absolute fastest you could theoretically get this thing done and just get it over with? I mean, just assuming everything goes well. And she said, oh, probably about 6 months. And I said, cool. So what is the absolute next thing that you have to do to get this? And I just talked her through this. And she said, well, I need to finish this thing and submit it to whatever it was. I was like, cool. Are you going to do it? And she said, yes. And I said, when? And she said some date. I'm like, cool. I'm calling you on this thing.
Yeah.
And I live coached her. And then footnote about ended up taking her about a year. And she got her PhD. She called me. She got her PhD.
Yeah. And
and I charged her nothing.
And who do we have to thank for that? You.
Jesus! Oh wait, I thought he took the wheel. All right.
Yeah, he took the wheel. No, yeah, but it. I also lived out in that area. My favorite place, I lived over in El Monte, Temple City area. From when I first moved there, my favorite place, it was a life coaching center that was in a burned out trailer. And it said still open.
It's always comforting when they need to remind you.
Yeah. And the roof was burnt out. And by the way, I lived out there.
Are you saying the roof was on fire?
Yeah. The roof was on fire. And then, and so I lived there for probably a year, and the roof had never been fixed, but it had a tarp over it and with like black hanging out. And then it said life coaching still open. I thought, what a great example of our hubris as people.
I know, right? Yeah, it seems like a lot of the people who do the life coaching, it's kind of like, I don't want to live life myself.
Yeah.
But I would love to make a living telling other people how to live their life.
Exactly. It's like, do you ever watch Hoarders? I love Hoarders, right? Oh. It's the best because
I know of it. Yes.
Okay. So Hoarders is if you don't know, well, for our listeners, Hoarders is a TV show where people it's a mental illness where they keep things that they don't need, but they do it to such an extent that it causes havoc and it causes danger.
Their houses are just, you can't even imagine how just absolutely, I mean, just
like
walls and walls and walls high of just
like literal,
everything.
Like they have to, like when they get in, they have to climb hills of trash.
Yeah.
To get, and okay, so I look at Hoarders and I go, that makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I was watching this one Hoarders episode. This lady was one of the worst I'd ever seen on the Hoarders thing. And they go, what do you do for a living? She goes, I clean other people's houses. She was a professional organizer.
And she was probably really good at it, I bet.
I bet she was amazing at it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so much easier. Boy, this is gonna get real deep. It's so much easier to clean someone else's mess up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you go, hey, my credit score is crap. What do I need to do to clean up my credit score? I know all the steps to do. Like I know what I need to do to lose weight. I know exactly, but you know it's easier than that. Telling you how to do it.
Do you want to lose weight? Is that a thing for you? Or you?
Yeah. It's more of it's less of a losing weight thing. It's more of a fat.
Yes. Okay. Go on.
It's more, you get to a point in your weight journey where instead of like right now where I go, well, I'm having a midlife crisis. I go, well, if I don't lose the weight, I'm having a twilight of my years crisis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ralphie May was 45 when he passed. John Candy was 42 when he passed.
Are you serious? They were that young?
They were that young. Absolutely.
I didn't realize they were that young.
Yeah, and those were no drugs. There was no drugs involved with those guys. Of course, John Panette, he died when he was 50. He even lost a bunch of weight, actually.
Wow.
Before he passed.
And how old are you now?
41. I'll be turning 42 in June.
Oh my gosh, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I'm 1 year older. I turned 43 in June.
Oh, right, I didn't know that. Okay.
What day?
28.
Are you effing me right now?
What's your birthday?
June 28th.
Are you freaking kidding me?
We are June 28th. We just discovered this. Our midlife crisis.
Just so you guys, this is not a bit.
No, this is not a bit.
This is not a bit.
This is an actual.
Hold on.
We are going to do evidence. Oh, I didn't mean to make you get up.
Oh no, I don't have it on here. Okay, I don't have my my thing on here, but you know what I do have.
Dude, what are the chances? And then we're just discovering that right now.
Look, ready? That's my Facebook.
So I'm exactly 1 year older than you. That's why I'm so much wiser.
That is, it really is.
I feel like you've been a lot more successful than me in 1 year less, at least as a comedian.
Well, I want to give this back before somebody else steals your information.
Yeah.
I already stole it, by the way.
Okay.
That's why I pulled my phone. It was to take a picture of it.
Well, you know what my credit score's doing, so you're more than welcome to steal my identity.
And here's one thing that I've learned to success is I wish that there, like, everyone goes, it's a monetary, value, right? Success is a monetary value.
Mm-hmm.
But in my eyes, there's a guy, I'm not going to name his name.
Megan.
His name is Megan. His name is Megan Sheryl Crow, and terrible comedian, right? But he has spent over 30 years being a professional comedian, somehow making a living. And when you watch him, you go, I don't know how he does it. I don't know why people are laughing, and I don't know why they bring him back.
Yeah.
But
they keep doing it.
They keep doing it.
And they may not know either.
And they don't know exactly. So one day he was talking, he was complaining about he's not this successful and all. And I just I looked at him, I said, you know what, Megan Sheryl Crow, you have spent the last 30 years of your life making other people laugh and happy. That doesn't sound like a waste of time to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so
what you're saying is, if I can actually get to the point to where I can make people laugh, then I will. Then I can be successful.
Yeah.
Cool. Right now, I'm really good at making people have that awkward silence. Is that what comedy's supposed to be? Yeah. You. Oh my gosh, I thought I was in the club. Wait, that was supposed to be the last part. I did this open mic in Vegas, and I did this one punchline or what I thought was a punchline, and it was the type of thing where there was a delay, and so I just kind of said, all right, I was pausing for a punchline, and you were all pausing for something funny to happen.
I've said this before, and I will say it again. I'll say it again. Your success as a comedian is only dictated by your location in life.
Okay, that made it worse. Can we define it some other way? If
you lived in a different place, you would be more successful.
What do you mean?
I think
like Billings, Montana.
No, Salt Lake
City.
If
I lived in a small town with only one club.
If you lived in Salt Lake City, I think that you would be crushing it.
Why is that?
Salt Lake City, and I was just out there. They have one of the most robust, and I mean this. They have one of the most robust improv and live theater communities I've ever come across. Mm-hmm. And I even said I came with a T, across. Okay, across. No, for real. I was out there doing shows, and the live entertainment in Utah is phenomenal.
It's happening.
People go to the shows, they do this thing, and I know a couple of people who do improv and theater out there, and I go, Paul could do this. Paul should be so I don't think you have to live there, but I think that you need to figure out where to go to make the money, because where we live is what I've called a vacuum of talent.
You've said that a lot.
I said that it's a vacuum.
So how come you're in the vacuum of talent?
I'm not. I live in the vacuum, but I sneak out.
You suck.
I suck. I suck so bad. They kick me out.
You reverse the vacuum and spit it out.
Yeah. The problem is that we live so close to LA. We're only 5.5 hours, relatively, or it's a 45-minute flight. The problem is we live so close to LA that by the time when some people get good at things here, that's where they go.
Yeah.
There are very few people in the Valley who are creating opportunities for people to grow and to make money in an entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. Because what happens when you get good? You gotta go to La land.
I did that.
Yeah, you did. I
that.
did too. And then I fell in love with a lady, and then that's why I live here.
Hey, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, see?
Kind of.
Sort
of. And that's where our stories diverge.
And that's where Jesus comes in.
And that's where Jesus came in and made some lemonade. Yeah, I don't know. I've thought a lot about, moving, and I'm in a interesting spot because I could literally move anywhere theoretically in the world, because I still have a day job, and people will say all the time, don't quit your day job. And I didn't. Thanks for the advice. I wasn't going to anyway. Wasn't.
Hey, Paul, can I give you some advice? Your day job, quit it. The problem, Paul, is that you have a safety net.
I know. Then it gets into that whole thing of like, oh, do I need to be like the Vikings and burn ships or whatever? And I'm going, well, it didn't turn out well for the Vikings or those who they were plundering in that scenario. Yeah.
Again, this is my opinion. Take it freely, throw it away. I don't care. Just like Phoenix is a vacuum of talent, there are very few opportunities. There are more opportunities now to get your things out there. There are less opportunities to get paid a substantial amount of money to do it.
Right.
And it's very like TikTok. You can have 1 million followers on TikTok and make $78 a month.
Yeah.
And they go, I have that problem where people, I was talking with these people who wanted to manage me or whatever. And they go, we'd like to manage you. And I said, I would love you to manage me. People who could take my career to a crazy level. And they go, but you need 1 million TikTok followers. And I go, but that doesn't, there's the analytics of that make no sense because TikTok is stupid.
Right. Congress.
That's just for the TikTokers. But yeah. I don't know. And again, it's that whole midlife thing where we go, okay, who's your audience?
Right.
If it's ex-Mormons, Salt Lake City.
Right.
I hate to tell you, there's a big contingency out there.
It's really funny you say that because speaking of midlife crisis, I'm also in a comedy crisis. And so I was up in Vegas, as we had talked about. I did a couple of open mics. One open mic I probably killed as hard as I've ever killed.
Yeah.
But the reason I killed was a few unique factors. Number one, I did no material.
Oh, okay.
Number two, I happened to follow 3 very funny but very loud, opinionated black comedians.
Ooh, okay.
Who did a whole bunch of F the police and F white people and F bald, white, middle-aged white people, and were like also just killing in this. And there's a bar, and it was like 1 a.m., but there was still an audience there, and it's kind of this Vegas, underground. It's Vegas, and then it's me, I'm going, there's no way in heck, I can get up here and be like, so airport security. So I just assumed the role as the hated white guy and just started riffing off all the comics, and I just had so much fun. And what I am learning about myself, we're going to talk about me now.
Okay, right there.
Is I have never killed to that level with anything I've ever written.
Yeah.
I've had good shows. I've had less than good shows. Maybe sometimes it goes a little bit better, but I've never blown the lid off any place ever.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I want to be a killer. How can I generate this level? I mean, because I had this whole bar just rolling after they had just pretty much said like I'm the most evil person, and I was the most fun I ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, not ever, but I mean, it was so much fun doing that. I'm going, that's missing in my comedy.
There's what's that thing missing? A long time, probably 10 something years ago, I had one of those moments where, I was like, I had this one show at this one place where I was doing good. And I was still I was working almost full time at comedy. I was like doing pretty good. And then I had this one show where it just knocked it out of the park. And I go, what was that?
Right.
What was that like? Because so if you're people listening, when you do comedy, it's like catching lightning in a bottle.
Right.
You go, how do I do that again?
Right.
And then Zeus just won't give it to you. Sometimes you just want and you have to look at it. You go, objectively, what do I need to do in my act to fix that thing. What I had to do, this is a long time ago, I had to throw away every joke I had ever written at that time.
Yeah.
Because I said, that's the response I want to get. The things I have are not getting the response I want to get, which means that the things I have are not good enough to be a solid act. So in my defense, I also just watched the Jerry Seinfeld comic thing where he was like 2 or 3 years into comedy, and he goes, well, I didn't like it. I said, what do I need to do? So I threw away everything I had. Yeah. And I started over, and I was like, that's it. That's the answer. That's not the answer necessarily for you, but that is, you have that moment where you go, what do I need to do to get to that thing that I want to get to? Right. How do I climb Everest without becoming green boots? It's a very deep cut there, but
yeah, I didn't catch it at all, but in context, I understood what you were going for.
Yeah. Green boots is a guy who died a long time ago on Everest, and he became a landmark for failure. Yeah. So
my last name's Green. So anytime I wear boots. So, and it's so funny you say that, because all week I've been talking about, like, I think I need to completely start over, and not only start over from getting rid of my jokes. It's like, I need to start over in terms of persona. I need to what lane am I going to go? So my buddy Andrew, who was the one who told me to come meet him up in Vegas in the first place. Very, very funny, very successful stand-up comedian. And he's hit a bunch of milestones that I've only dreamed of, and honestly don't even exist anymore because I can't get on the Letterman show. And so he was there. He saw me kill. And so in the parking lot, he kind of like, dude, wow, that, because I don't think he's ever even seen me do that. Yeah. And the reason he's never seen me do that is because I almost never do. Yeah. Because again, my material does not have the teeth to elicit any audience to that level of emotional response. Yeah. So I kind of just said, hey, can you help me with this? Do you see it? Like, did you see it?
See what happened? He goes, I saw exactly what happened. Yeah. And you go, can you help me? Nope.
He was the opposite. He's like, I absolutely can.
Oh, great. That's way better.
And we'll see.
And by the way, Andrew is a life coach, and he lives in a burnt out trailer.
Yeah, the burnt out trailer. So anyway, but he's been just talking about, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to decide, are you going to be a clean comic? Or are you going to be a subversive comic? Mm-hmm. Are you going to be Bill Burr? Or are you going to be Jerry Seinfeld? Yeah. You're going to be John Mulaney? Or are you going to be Jim Gaffigan? Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to put it back on him. I'm like, I need you to coach me. Who do I need to be? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'll be whatever I need to be. Right? I mean, because I can be both people. It's like, I was a clean comic for the first 7-8 years of my comedy career. And most of the stuff that I still do, I can very easily make clean. Yeah. Even, all the material that I did last year, which last year already was a pretty big shift from what I was usually doing. It was the most honest that I ever written. And I really started writing about me getting out of this relationship that I was in that was really traumatic for me, and calling the suicide hotline and stuff. And I have whole bits about that. I've never been that honest and that dark. I'm kind of now ready to move on even from that. Yeah. And I'm actually ready to move on from everything and just say, you mean life? I am ready to die. But it's like you said, it's like, throw all that material away, throw all of my clean material. And it's like, I already have like clean comedy shows booked. It's like, I know I can always show up to those. Yeah. I know what they need. Yeah. I can pull that material out. But in the meantime, it's like, I got 5 shows this weekend, and I'm half tempted to riff all all and start over. Yeah. Are you over at the JP's? Yeah. I didn't want to, because this won't come out before the weekend. I just want to. Don't go to JP's expecting to see me unless it's still April 4th, 5th, or 6th. Yeah. But anyway, and I've been writing some ideas, and I'm looking at these ideas, and I'm going like, well, this is actually the type of stuff that came up in that open mic about like me being white and actually kind of not apologizing for it. Yeah. And it's a lot more subversive, and it's a lot more like me being really honest and authentic, but still trying to be funny. But the funny is coming from the authenticity and the truth. The funny isn't coming from me coming up with a clever joke. No. Because that's real comedy comes from truth. Yeah. And then
again, it's like finding that like what audience is going to listen to you tell your truth.
Right.
Because there are some truths that I can tell to certain audiences, but I can't tell them to other audiences.
Right.
I have jokes about being in the military that I can only tell to very specific people, because anyone else that hears it will get sad.
Right. Even
though they're technically clean comedy, it's just not, it's not the right audience. And so that's another thing, is like how to, and I hope Andrew helps you find out, like how do you find your audience? I don't know. Yeah. I know how I found it, but I don't know how you'll find it,
Yeah. And I mean, and honestly, I'm not even thinking about audience right now. I'm just thinking about
your voice.
How can I be so funny?
Yeah.
And I'll see it, even at JP's, JP will usually have 5 or 6 comics on a lineup. I'm never the funniest.
Yeah.
I never kill the hardest. I'm never bad. I'm not trying to be like I'm up there bombing and crickets and stuff like that. But I'm always okay. Like I'm always good. Mm-hmm. I'm always funny enough. And I've been on stage long enough that I can navigate myself out of bad jokes or things that don't land, or, I'm never going to get awkward or deer in headlights. But, but I know those audiences are capable of being slayed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Wolf Brown goes out and slays them, and Sod goes out, and Jim Perry, the owner of the club, they're able to get those audiences. They want to laugh. Like, they're great audiences. Yeah. So like, it's totally like, it's the audience's fault. It's like, no, it's me.
No. Well, yeah. Almost 99% of the time, it's not the audience.
99. Yeah. That's my opinion too.
That's. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 shows my entire career where I went, that was a bad show, not my fault.
Audience's fault.
Yeah.
I had one of those New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
It was a Narcotics Anonymous party, New Year's Eve party.
Narcoleptics
Anonymous. And nobody told anybody that there was a comedian coming.
Okay.
And then they started serving dinner. And then they said, oh, everybody, there's a comic. Here's Paul Green, while everybody was talking and serving dinner and eating. And then there was like a DJ and people were dancing. And so then they stopped the DJ and then stopped the dancing and the people having fun and what they wanted to do, and said, hey, now listen to this guy. And I was already like not feeling really comfortable here. You know what I mean? So I went up there and tried to kind of do my vulnerable, like, okay, well, this is the first time I've ever followed an AA meeting. And then about 20 drug addicts simultaneously said, it's NA! NA! When I said the wrong thing. And now they hate me. And then this woman started screaming because I think she was having some sort of like
thing.
Like I'm weaning off of meth and now it's loud and people are booing and screaming and there's a comic talking through a microphone. And so she just starts a blood curdling scream. And then that's how it started.
Yeah. That's how it started. And then I've had those where you're like, it started like
that. But don't worry, it only got worse.
Well, don't worry about that.
But I stayed in that. I stayed up there for 30 minutes.
I was going to say,
I did my time.
That's how I felt like I had one last year, almost a year ago, actually, where I was at a very fancy resort here in town. They hired me to come do the show.
Oh, of course.
It was a very nice show, whatever. I was dressed up to the appropriately, everything. I didn't find out until I got there. Well, I didn't find out until I was on stage, because I get on stage and then it's a huge room, maybe 500 something people. It's very, very fancy. And I'm telling jokes. Nobody's laughing. They're just looking at me like, what's happening? What's going on? And then I was like, what? Okay. So I was like, what is going on? I kind of talked to these. I found out one, it was an international award ceremony. They didn't tell anybody there's a comic coming. So international award ceremony, every single table was like a round table like this, but much bigger. And from different countries. Every table was a different country. Most of them didn't speak English. They had one person at the table who would translate to the rest of the table. All this to say, and it was 10 o'clock at night, right? After they had eaten dinner, had dessert, and were starting to drink. And on top of all this, they had been in this room since 7 a.m. that day.
Oh, perfect.
And perfect. That was one of those. And then that was one of the moments where I almost quit comedy. Like, and this is a year ago. It was so bad. And I had such a bad, and I almost was like, do I just get, is this it? Is this it? Is this the knife? This is the knife that kills me?
Yeah.
And then it took a couple. Honestly, it took a couple weeks, and it was really really bad for my mental health. But after a couple weeks, and then like just that the realization was like, oh, you know what? You know whose fault it was? Yeah, it was on about 4 other people. Who any one of those people who could have said, comedy's a bad idea, guys.
Right.
This is not a good idea.
Right.
We should have a magician, or a hypnotist, or somebody who is a lower entertainer than a comedian. This is what I say. No.
It's really fascinating, and I think we probably take it for granted because all we do is comedy.
Yeah,
and so we know all of the elements that need to go into making a comedy show work.
Yes,
and the regular event planner,
they don't know those things.
They have no clue, and they just think comedy equals entertainment, and then entertainment is just. Because there is entertainment, it will be good.
Yes.
And no other factors need to play. Oh, well, we have a stage and entertainment, so entertainment will happen.
Yeah.
And we also need food, and and we also are.
Yeah, they go all these things. Yeah. And then this is one of the things. If you are a comedian listening, or this one's for you, when you're doing corporate shows are such a different beast. It's a whole different beast.
Totally different beast.
When I learned after that, because I'd done a lot of corporates before that, but that was the worst I'd ever had. And so I learned after that, I was like, it's in my contract that I'm going to speak to the event coordinators, and I'm going to speak to the company that I'm doing the show for. Because I spoke to the event coordinator beforehand, and she didn't really. She was like, oh, it's just a show. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Then I was like, I'm going to speak to the company ahead of time, and we're going to go over what makes a successful show. And once I did that, we were good. Like, I just did an event last week I was in Utah. The weekend before I was in San Francisco doing a big event for a veterans nonprofit organization. And we did that. We said, hey, what do we need to do to have a successful show?
Right.
And we went through, lights are down, these things are the bands, all these things. We hit all those things, crushed it. Great show. Everybody's happy. The event coordinator looks good. The company looks good.
Right.
I look good. I punch things.
You punch things. And what's funny is I've done so many corporate shows because I was with this improv troupe in Mesa for years and years and years. Did hundreds and hundreds of corporate gigs. So I've seen all of that just as a performer. I wasn't the one coordinating, but I would show up and then I would see, the producer and the owner of the company have to navigate those. And I would see, oh, this one didn't work well because of X, Y, and Z. And this one worked really well because of ABC. And so the only reason that New Year's Eve gig, what had happened was, so this comedian friend of mine who lives in San Diego, but he comes to Phoenix, and I met him in Phoenix. Back around November, he just kind of writes this general post. I said, hey, I'm looking for comedians to volunteer to come perform for a halfway house for Thanksgiving. Don't have any money, but, it'd be nice if you want to come volunteer. And I'm like, I would love to volunteer because it's Thanksgiving and nobody loves me. And so on be a good chance for, that was really dark. Lots of people love me.
A lot of people love him.
A lot of people love me, including my family who I ditched on Thanksgiving to go do this gig. So anyway, I go to San Diego and I go to this halfway house and I do this Thanksgiving gig and I just have a phenomenal time. And for what it was, they did the best possible job to put it together, which was, it was outside. And they had like a canopy and they had chairs and they had a karaoke thing. And it was after lunch. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like 3-4 p.m. And then it was like, hey, everybody, if you want to watch the comedy show, go sit in these seats. Otherwise, don't go over there.
Yeah. If you want to be in a tryptophanic haze, go inside.
If you want to watch the games or you want to watch there's another place to do that. So it worked out really well. So the guy who booked me on that show, because I did so well, so then he messages me and says, hey, I got this New Year's Eve gig for the same, the NA community. And I was like, oh, yeah, I love this. Like, I had an amazing time with them. So I foolishly assumed that because he had booked this gig, that he had done all of that sort of whatever. And it turned out he didn't. He was actually just doing a favor for this sort of chapter of the community, of the NA community. And they didn't really know any of that. So it was kind of a failure on my part to be like, to not go, oh, cool. Yeah. So who's doing the thing? What does the flyer look like? What's the expectation? When am I going up? What's happening with dinner? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, even the flyer itself said dancing and entertainment.
Oh, okay. Nice.
from like 8 to 12, right? So it's, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. They had an NA meeting right before me. So it was 2 hours of, hello, my name is such and such, and I'm an addict. Hi, and da-da-da-da. And then, they talk about how, their kids won't talk to them and blah, blah, blah.
And then you get up and then you're like, elevators?
What's the deal with elevators?
You know what the best way to get high is?
Right. Well, and what's kind of funny is that community is actually very self-aware. That's why I had so much fun on the Thanksgiving gig. Yeah. Like I could just talk about drugs and, because they've just been through so much crap that they're not offended by anything.
Yeah.
But this particular audience, they just did not want comedy.
Yeah.
They just didn't want comedy then. And nobody had prepared them for comedy.
Nobody prepared them. Nobody prepared the room. Nobody had prepared you for what you're going into.
Yeah.
So on that you go, okay, how could I have made it better?
Right.
Not have been there.
Yeah. Just I should have asked some questions, or before agreeing to the gig, I would have been like, well, have you done this before? Who's whatever? What's the situation? So I was a little naive to assume that because the comic who booked me for the other show that went well, that meant that he had the direct influence to make sure this event went well, but he really didn't. He was just kind of pitching it to me.
Yeah.
And then I just, this is going to go very well. And it was really disappointing because I was actually really, really excited.
Yeah.
Because I had so much fun on the Thanksgiving gig.
Yeah.
So I'm even sitting there in the back of the NA meeting, and I'm watching this NA meeting, and I'm going, oh, I can riff on this, because they actually are cool. Not like I would bring up people's specific stuff. But
I would absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, what's with Jake and that 2 nights in jail? I would have put him in there for 2, 3.
Look at Bob over here. He hasn't seen his kids in 20 years.
But anyway, what were we talking about? Credit scores. So my credit score is low.
Credit score, and that's the midlife crisis.
That's the midlife crisis. So anyway,
I think honestly, I think that we should wrap this up with a song, but because we're running out of that might be a good that's a good place to start. Is that we're both crisis of faith, crisis of credit score, crisis of employment. Like what do we like?
Crisis of art. Where I'm going.
Art.
Like literally, who am I on stage? Do I even want to be a clean comedian? Because it's the type of thing where if I start being a lot more honest, a lot more subversive, I'm going to probably lose a lot of the clean comedy bookers and stuff.
That's okay.
And I'm just going like,
you have to, but you have to do. If it's not truthful to you, it's not going to come out true. I have worked with a lot of people who go, I want to do churches, and because they find out what they find out what that money is. I'll start sharing. But then they go and they find out, they go, oh, but if it's not truthful, they know immediately.
Right.
The people in the audience, they know immediately if you're being truthful about it, and it will show. And you might get 1 or 2 shows out of it, but if you're not truthful with it, it's just not going to get booked.
Right.
It is what it is. And it's the same with kind of like I'm having a crisis now where I'm going, okay, I'm 14 years into comedy. I had found a voice, but now my voice is changing.
You're going through puberty?
Literally, both figuratively and literally. My voice, I'm going through a second puberty. My voice is changing. How everything is, and I'm like, okay, do I stick with that same? I'm weird, loud. Yes, what's going on like that?
Yeah.
Which is not always truthful to me anymore.
Right.
Or do I want to talk about the things that I want to talk about, but I don't know how to do it because I haven't written that way in 14 years.
Right.
So it's again, what do we do?
What do we do, Josh?
What do we do?
We have a midlife crisis.
We have a midlife crisis. They say when you have a midlife crisis, you go straight to the end. And who's the end? Jesus be my lemonade.
I thought we were going to sing a new song.
Oh, okay, let's do this. Oh no, we're going to cut that. We're going to get ready. This is the magic of editing.
All right.
But you know who's the end? And you know who's the beginning? A life coach. Are you down and are you weary? Over all you clearing? Got someone to hold you? Who's gonna something and devote you? And it doesn't matter if you're Army, Marines, a sailor. Man, he lives in a burnt-out trailer. He's a life coach. Oh, he's a life coach. He doesn't know how to live his life, but he'll tell you how to live yours. He's a life. If you need some advice, oh, some advice he'll lob. He'll help you with your finances, even though he doesn't have a job. He may be drinking, he's a louse. He'll help you get a place, even though he doesn't have a house. He's a life coach. He's a life coach. He's a life coach.
Do you have another verse?
Let's get a couple more verses in. Do you have nothing to live for? Do you have nothing to love and adore? Do I got a position you can join in? Well, life coach, just come on in. Be a life coach. Be a life coach and coach me a little more. Be a life coach, even if you don't have a door. I came to him, my life was in the lurch. He said, maybe you should sell some merch. I told him of my life, I want so much more. He's got a 500, but that didn't stop him from helping me with my credit score. He's a life coach. He's my life coach. Oh, he's my life coach. He's showing the way, the truth and the light. He's my life coach. He's got such wise things to say. I've been following his advice. My life is full of sugar and maybe some spice. I'm doing everything he says, now I've got it made. He's my life coach, just like Jesus is my lemonade. Jesus is my lemonade. And isn't it ironic that Jesus was also homeless most his life? But he walked around, he would coach people on their life. Just like a man with a roof that is burned down, he would coach me with his healing sound. Jesus, be my life coach.
That's a pretty good midlife crisis.
That's pretty good. That's a great midlife crisis. Well, hey, next week.
Yeah, let's have another midlife crisis.
That sounds good.
Come join us.
Yes, thanks
As
so
we
much for
midlife
watching.
crisis together. We'll give you some life coaching advice from people who should not be giving anybody advice.
Absolutely. Like me.
Have you heard of crypto?
Have you heard of crypto?
Hey, you want to do a little crypto? Hey, you invest right now. You gotta get in.
It's too late.
You gotta get in early. Gotta get in early.
Have you heard about this thing called Amazon?
Oh, it's never gonna make it. Who would sell books online? What a crazy man.
That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening to Let's Have a Midlife Crisis. There we go. Okay. Good job.
Like how I pulled it all back around.
Yeah, no,